have any thoughts on the European Union as a whole?
I think what people have got to remember, there have been some good things out of Europe. You know, it's very easy to say, oh, these bureaucrats, they're sitting around in cars. And there probably is. It could do with a haircut. It could do with some sort of leaning up. But there has also been some good things to come out of Europe as well. And overall, the UK hasn't done terribly badly out of it. You know, it's very easy always just to remember, you know, the bad points.
Do you think there could be a domino effect now with other countries leaving the Union?
Definitely, and I think what you've got to watch now is what happens with Scotland, whether they will now do a referendum and have another go at trying to break up the UK. So it's not just the Europe issue. Denmark is watching this closely. Spain already, you know, is a point saying, oh, we want to try and get away and go independent. So it certainly will start up again, but it will seem to see now if this makes the EU stronger. And they said, well, look, you know, we've got to lean up, we've got to become more active, or they basically just end up, you know, breaking up.
What about the Footsie? Obviously, that's at an all-time low. What would you predict for that in the next few months?
Well, my main market's are the US, and the US has come off a little bit, but overall, the US will probably withstand it a lot better because it's such a big market. And again, another reason when people say, well, we trade US stocks. The initial reaction is for a lot of people when news comes out that's not expected is sell, just get out of there. But what tends to happen over time is that these things tend to stabilise, value starts to come out, and then it starts to become, you know, sort of news orientated. So I think for a lot of people, if you've got sort of longer term investments, you've got a pension or whatever, don't start panicking because your shares are down 7-10% or whatever today. Just, you know, hold in there.
What do you think in terms of property investment?
Okay, so property, what's going to happen is if I'm an American buyer, UK properties just become cheaper for me because my dollars are now worth more in pounds. Even the euro a little bit now, the euro strengthened against the pound. So some overseas investors are going to find the UK a little bit cheaper. Some are saying, you know, our property market was due a bit of a correction or what have you. They're already talking about like the buy-to-let market's already slowed down a little bit as well. But overall, for most people, I don't think it's going to affect the property market that much because people will still be able to buy and sell property. They're not like locked in. It's not like a case of you can no longer buy UK property. If anyone from France wants to come over and buy UK property, they can.
The big house builders have taken a bit of a hit with all of this. What do you predict for them?
Okay, well, the house builders had already been doing very, very well. So what happens is, you know, when something's been going up a lot, people have got unrealised profits. So they're saying, well, hold on now, I've got this amount of profit in there, let me sell. And of course, by selling, that makes the market go down. So they're not necessarily selling at a loss. They've taken quite a good chunk because house builders have been doing pretty well. And then they'll reassess and have a look and say, well, hold on a minute, how's that going to affect the profits? There's no doubt about it, the housing market probably will slow down a little bit, but some people will say, well, that's actually not a bad thing for it to have a little bit of a reset, a bit of a cool down, and then it can start moving back up again. But when you've had quite a good market in anything, this has probably just pushed it a little bit further, but I think there was going to be a bit of a sell-off even without this.
Will anything happen now in terms of the Bank of England interest rates and in terms of people's mortgages?
Okay, well, the Bank of England interest rates are nearly zero anyway, so they haven't got much room to cut any further. They're certainly not going to raise interest rates. We've also got the US. The US was possibly due to put rates up in July, and I think they'll probably hold off now a little bit because of this uncertainty.
So when they held the Bank of interest rates low before, they told all the banks that they had to hold them low until I think it was a few years ago. And then, of course, the banks slowly have been increasing them. Is there potential that they would ask the banks to hold them again?
Definitely, yeah. And what they can also do is because the Bank of England is independent, they can print money and put money into circulation. So if they see parts of the system which is clogging up, they will do things to help the system keep going. Banks on the whole are in a better shape than they were in the past because they never took too much risk since the 2008, 2009 bailouts. A lot of the banks are still government owned or partly government owned. So I don't see a huge banking crisis. Going to see a little bit of a jolt, but overall the banking system is in fairly good shape.